Welcome back to the No Brain Podcast, you guys. A new year is upon us. It is now 2020. I'm a little bit late. I understand that. Last week, I wanted everyone to be refreshed, enjoy the holidays, and enjoy their time. You know, I try and post weekly, but sometimes I like to let people sit on the topics that I've discussed on this podcast and just overall reflect. Now, with a new year upon us, everyone makes their New Year's resolutions, right? And for the most part, people don't even follow through with those New Year resolutions. People usually make them, and then within a month to, let's say, 3 months, people will start falling off the resolution train. I want to congratulate everyone that's made it to 2020. Big accomplishment. I'm glad to be here. But today I wanted to talk about my New Year's resolutions, and maybe you guys can gain some introspect and maybe create your own lists, and maybe some of my lists will be in your guys' list. Now, I know when people make goals, they usually do it in their head, but what I like to do is I like to write it down physically. I like to write down all my goals, whether you're doing it, I guess you can do it on the computer or your phone, but I think a notepad would be a notepad or a piece of paper, and then putting that piece of paper or notepad up somewhere in your house that you come across often, just to remind you of the goals that you've set. It's kind of a responsibility thing. It's also, putting those goals out there into the world. So, I'm going to start with my list of goals. First goal on the list, make an extra $1,000 a month. Now, this is going to be probably one of the tougher goals that I've made for my New Year's resolutions, I guess you can call it. I don't even like to call them New Year's resolutions. I feel like calling them that already means I'm going to fail, which is weird, but I just feel like everyone fails their New Year's resolutions. So anyways, $1,000 a month. I think that when you set your goals, I think you should also write a little bit on how you plan to accomplish them. Now, I actually have not done that yet, but I'm going to discuss it a little bit on the podcast today. So making an extra $1,000 a month, how do I plan on doing that? Well, again, there's some things that I'd like to keep private that I do in my personal life. But the main things that I'd like to give out is, you guys know that I'm very, very into fitness. I have a Twitter page that's mainly based around fitness, lifestyle, philosophy, whatever else. You guys could follow it down below. But I plan on creating these programs, fitness programs, and I plan on releasing them. There's some other stuff that I'm dabbling in. I'm really huge in copywriting. I really, really enjoy writing. And so copywriting obviously is stood out to me as one of the things that I could do well in. And obviously I've been studying it. I've been reading books on it. And I've been kind of using it. And I think that I could freelance my copywriting skills. But I'm still kind of new to it. So I'd like to dive more into it. But I think for my own business, I think I can use my copywriting skills, and I really, really enjoy it. So those are a couple of the ways that I plan on making $1,000 a month. I actually have a dude from Germany in my training program. He's lost, I think, 8-10 pounds now, and I've been working with him for about a month, and so I'm really excited with his progress, and I'm really happy with what he's doing. So again, I plan on releasing that sometime within the next few months, as I've been saying. Next goal on the list, start learning more about real estate and property. Now again, real estate is huge. There's so many people that are in real estate, whether they're buying duplexes, buying whatever kind of rental properties you can buy. I don't know much about rental properties, so I probably shouldn't discuss much of it on here. But again, that is a goal of mine. I do want to have rental properties, whether it be houses, apartments, duplexes, whatever. I don't even know the lingo, but I'm just going to put that out there in the universe because that's something that I want to do. Next goal on the list, read more, aim for at least a book a month. Now, I have talked about reading on this podcast before, and I would consider myself an avid reader, but I don't think I've been accomplishing the reading goals that I think that I can. I've read a decent amount of books, I'd say, in 2019, but I want to set more of a goal. Instead of just setting a goal of, I want to read more, I want a specific goal, which is a book a month. a book a month is not that tough. 12 books in a year is not that tough, especially the books I read. I'm not reading huge books like fucking Moby Dick or anything. I'm reading, more philosophy-based books and psychology-based books. They're usually anywhere from 100 to maybe 400 to 500 pages, give or take. So again, it's a good goal to set. I think I'll definitely be able to reach that without much of a problem. Next goal on the list, gain 15 pounds of muscle. I think right now I'm at about 170, 175. So probably like 165. 165, 170, I would assume. And again, this goal I think is going to be a little bit tougher. I think that 10 pounds is definitely possible. I've been lifting for about 4 or 5 years now, so 15 pounds in 1 year is tough, but I have never really fully bulked. And I know I was talking to you guys about a bulk earlier on a couple podcasts ago, I think it was, but I fall off my diet. I stay in great shape at all times, but bulking is the hardest thing for me. I just can't bulk because my stomach just can't handle it. And I'm going to try and figure out some ways around it, and I think I'll be able to do it this year, and I think I'll be able to do well. I'm going to try to bulk the entire year, and I think that 15 pounds of muscle will be totally possible, especially if I'm putting on a decent amount of body fat, which, I feel like I can put on 15 pounds of muscle without putting on much body fat, but maybe I'm just overzealous. We'll see. Next on the list, create more content, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Now, I like putting out weekly podcasts, or at least I try to put out weekly podcasts. And same with my Twitter. I'm pretty active on my Twitter. But I think I can up my content, whether it's quality or quantity. I think I can do both. I put a lot of effort into them, and I think that I can, again, put in even more effort. So I guess that's self-explanatory. Next goal on the list. Work towards better EQ and IQ. So emotional intelligence, and I think IQ is intelligence quotient. So again, just increasing emotional intelligence and overall intelligence. I think that I really enjoy learning. I really enjoy growing my intellect, and I think that my emotions sometimes get the best of me. So emotional IQ is one proponent that I'm definitely going to be working on, but also regular IQ. I just want to become a smarter, more intellectually savvy. And this is the year for that. And, some of these goals I feel like I'm going to be shooting for every year. But, again, I have never really physically wrote down my goals, so I'm glad that I'm doing this now and putting it out in the world. So there's that. Meditate more. I do meditate every once in a while, not really that often. I slack on it. It's something that I know is important. It's one of those things I know is important, but I don't do it very often. I'm not consistent with it. I need to bring it into a habit. That's the one thing I haven't done, is I haven't made it habitual, and that's something I'm going to work on, is making it a habit. And I think that'll really increase the amount of times that I'm meditating, and I think it'll just make me a better person, a more calm person, and just better overall. So there's that. Next one on the list. Work on better body and facial posture. Now, this might confuse some people, but again, physical posture is important. You can tell a lot about a person through their posture. And body posture, as you guys know, is obviously important. You don't want to be slouching your shoulders or your head tilted backwards or forwards. You just don't want that. So having a good posture is important, and a facial posture. So having your tongue to the roof of your mouth. I have a problem with clenching my jaw. I don't know why. I grind my teeth a lot at night, and I think it's just a habit that I've brought with me while I'm awake. I tend to clench my jaw, and I don't know if it's from anxiousness or I don't know. Again, I'm a fidgety person, so I guess that clenching my jaw is something I do and I just don't really notice. So I'm going to try and keep my tongue to the roof of my mouth, keep my mouth posture good, keep my body posture good, and I plan on, fixing that. And I don't think my posture overall is necessarily bad, but I think that I can work on it. Next on the list, speak slower and more clear. I'm a pretty energetic person, so I tend to speak fairly fast, and I don't pronunciate my words the best. So I'm really hoping that this year I can really hone on my speech and continue with this podcast. I speak for this podcast, so I would want my speech to be excellent if I'm doing this. And in doing this, I'm going to fix my speech and make sure it's the best possible. I want to be speaking more clearly, pronouncing my words, and just slowing down my overall speech. Those are my goals. I want you guys to think about your goals this upcoming year and just overall goals for your life. What do you want to accomplish? Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a good week.